Good afternoon. This is Desiree Dubois, founder of An Empowered Woman. And today I have the pleasure of speaking with one of our partners, Dr. Edward Torino. Good afternoon. How are you doing today?
I'm doing very well, and I'm very excited to be here as one of your partners.
Oh, well, thank you.
Admired your Empowered Woman group for so long.
Well, we've been dear friends and one of our supporters for years, and so I'm so happy to be able to have you part of our community. But you've got a fantastic story, because I mentioned that you have years of experience, and even in our logo, even in our business cards, Dr. Torino, everything says experience is the best teacher. And now I think it's so important for people to really realize that there's no substitute for that. There's no new fancy procedure or equipment or process that substitute for someone who's had years of experience. So tell us about your experience a bit.
Well, first of all, I want to completely tell you that what you just said is the truth of the matter. A plastic surgeon, one who is certified by the American Board of Plastic Surgery, is somebody who is trained fully in surgery first before they train in plastic surgery. And to tell you the truth that nobody really believes, there's only 7,000 of us that ever did that since the American Board of Plastic Surgery was developed in 1937. So the other part that people need to know is that the training is not directed at cosmetic surgery. The training is directed at repairing people who are injured, have accidents, burns, war wounds, children with birth defects, and all that sort of thing. So the men who do their training really have to go out into the big wide world and essentially learn by their own experience how to do it the best way. That's the first important thing. The second important thing is that anyone who has native, inborn artistic talent and perception, especially of the beauty of the human body and the human face, that's very important as well. Without those two elements, you get maybe just a technical operation, and if the person isn't trained thoroughly and certified by the American Board of Plastic Surgery, then they basically could have mistakes, and there could be bad things happening to patients. So choosing the surgeon is really the most critical thing of all, I would say.
I think that's why they have so there's even shows now calling botched, because people see the procedure, they see the price, they see it can be done quick, and they don't take the time to find out, does that person really have that other part? So when something happens or something's different, then it creates a problem. So thank you for sharing. But you've also written books, you've also spoken. Tell us about that, because again, a lot of the people that women are looking into haven't had that level of expertise.
Well, when I was a kid, I really wanted to be an artist. It's what I wanted to be. But anyway, when I became a plastic surgeon, my interest went mostly to faces. So that's actually probably for sure what I do most of today, or really every week. And people calling actually from long distances because I invented, for the first time in history, special implants to put into faces to increase their beauty in the areas of the cheek and the chin and the jawline. And that has now become very popular in our culture as people have done more exercise, gotten rid of more body fat, so that now their bone structure shows up. And we see the beauty in the ads in the magazines and on television with the actors and actresses. And it's one of the biggest desires of human beings, is to look good so that they feel good about themselves. And that's what we do and try to do the best. And the face is probably the best place to give somebody some confidence so they can go on and have great business and personal relationships and enjoy themselves.
So you mentioned to me also that you've spoken. How many times have you spoken, and how many books have you written? And then we'll go on to your practice itself.
Well, since this was a new thing that I just developed 25 or 30 years ago, I had to teach it. And so therefore, I wrote books for plastic surgeons, 2 full textbooks that cover everything that I've ever developed and invented. And then also I've been asked by others to participate in their books with writing book chapters. So that's been about 25 to 30 book chapters. And then I've been asked to speak in almost every major organization throughout the world on plastic surgery and cosmetic surgery. And I've done that about 600 times. So I guess I'd call that a certain amount of experience.
Well, that's how you distinguish yourself from the others that are performing the same, because not everybody can say the same. So
No, I'm fortunate that way. I've been very fortunate.
well, this has been your love. This has been your life, so it's just not a quick fix or a great cash flow or a new buzz. It's been your life. So what are some of the areas that you specialize in then? Because I know you offer a lot of other things that, people have not only the face, but the body and so forth, but what's your areas of specialty?
Well, one of the first things that I was an investigator. I was requested to be an investigator by Stanford University people with the FDA in getting approval for a filler called collagen that older members of the audience would probably remember in the 1980s. And it was okay. It could fill up wrinkles and areas on the face, but like volume. The whole thing now is volume. The face is really a three-dimensional element. It's not flat. It's not two-dimensional like when you do a facelift and you pull everything tight. That flattens out the face. And what we try and do with our volumizing techniques, which one of them is collagen, then collagen was so short-lived that I didn't embrace it anymore. So I went ahead and invented these implants made out of silicone rubber, very, very safe. They've been proven to be safe. And I put them in on the bones of the face and create lovely looking cheeks, chin, and jawlines. And then on top of that, they have new fillers. Because of collagen, they developed another material, and they are called HA fillers. And most people know about them, like Restylane, Perlane, Voluma, lots of things. One of them was a different name. They changed it to Voluma. And those fillers are what a lot of people like because it's non-surgical and it has less downtime. So you have to remember that if one wants the most permanent changes that will last for years and years and maybe their entire life, you really have to have surgery. The surgery, however, even though it's detailed and it takes a considerable time, again, you need to choose your doctor correctly. The surgery is better when you get it younger because it lasts longer and it looks better. And if people use fillers and Botox for 20 years, they may think that they like that fact that there's not much downtime and they don't have to have surgery, but they'll be 20 years older. At that point, they may not even be medically healthy enough to have a significant operation. So people should think about doing something when they really want to do it, as long as they find a doctor that is ethical enough to tell them that they should or shouldn't do it based on his experience. They shouldn't just jump into something with any doctor who is not fully trained and who hasn't got the experience. And they should even check to see, from his testimonials or from his patients that he's operated on. Word of mouth is always the best. The people that come from word of mouth and know me from all the years I've been doing it in this whole Southern California area are the ones that are easiest to take care of and generally get the best results because they're more relaxed about having the surgery.
Okay, so let me touch on a few things before we complete. Is that one I heard you say that's important is to most. I'm referring to most of our women are business entrepreneurs and professionals, so time is important for them. So some of the procedures that you perform, it minimizes their downtime. So they could actually do it in a week, be back to work or something at that point, be back in public, or be able to. I guess it depends on what they're getting done, but it's not something they have to be out for. Some people delay it because they think they have to be out for a very long time or it's going to interrupt their flow of business, but they don't have to be, correct?
Well, if somebody is really good at doing surgery, and today we have much better anesthesiologists and anesthesia, so people get over the surgery faster and better. It really is only a few days before somebody can't function, and not even that. But they usually don't want to go back to work themselves. They could go even at the end of a week or a half a week, but They don't want to, a lot of them, because they don't want anybody to know, and they want to make sure they look good. That can take 2 or 3 weeks,
Mm-hmm.
you know. Meanwhile, you take some of these new technologies like lasers and radio frequency beams. Kybella is a certain enzyme they're injecting now into necks to shrink the fat, and liposuction. Those all have a much more limited time to look good, and then it goes away.
So it's more of a quick fix. And so I agree with you in the fact that if you're going to have something done, have something done that will go the long term. So that's one thing. So the downtime is minimal, especially for the fact that they'll be able to enjoy their beauty, their newfound beauty for the rest of their lives. The second thing you mentioned was that it's invasive and non-invasive. I just want to make sure I cover these points before we finish, is that they can be invasive and non-invasive. Some people are concerned about that. So when they have a consultation with you, they'll be able to really find out what is actually going to be involved and then what they feel comfortable with. I love the fact that you brought to the attention that it's a 3-dimension, our faces, because we don't think of it as that. I never thought of mine as 3-dimension. And it's beautiful to know that you actually look at it from that view. So I hear that you're looking at it as an artist as opposed to even a plastic surgeon or just someone who's doing the procedure. So that I want the ladies to make sure they can kind of embrace the fact that you're looking at it as if this was a piece of art, their face is a piece of art, and you're going to fill out and do only what's needed. And then the fourth thing actually is that they should do it sooner than later. If there's something they want to get done, then they do it when they're younger, so they have many more years to enjoy it, as opposed to the quick fixes that are constantly. And I think the accumulation of all the chemicals and procedures is going to either affect them in other ways, have side effects, or eventually, again, like you said, may have to come get a surgery anyway, and then now they're much older and may not be able to, tolerate it as well as they can when they're younger. So,
well, yes, and also, let me just interrupt a second. The tissues in our body are they're not the same when we get older.
Absolutely.
So the result really doesn't last half as long anyway when you get older.
Yeah, and I think that makes sense to most intelligent women. They know that, you're just not the same. You're not going to heal as fast. You're not going to be as resilient, and there could be other complications involved if you wait until later. So if it's something you want to do, and so you also do other parts besides the face. I just want to make sure people knew that. And most important, yes?
Well, remember, to train as a general surgeon, you have to train for 6 years on all parts of the body.
Right.
Or anything that comes up in plastic surgery, like when liposuction started in 1984. That was something new, and those of us with the training learned how to do it and do it well. And breast augmentation wasn't around before the 1970s, and that was a new thing. So a good plastic surgeon learns everything and learns how to do it well. Great,
because sometimes there's other things, like you said, some of it are optional. People that are opting to have certain things, maybe there's certain scars or certain things that's been bothering them, and now's the time to be able to have something done. But also what's great is the fact that you offer a consultation, because if you're thinking about it, and I think that's the first step to do, is either a complimentary consultation. And it can be either in your office there in person, or they can do it virtually via video or Zoom or what other features that are available. Because that way you can really be able to see and hear and be precise as to what could be done, what should be done, and what's the safest for that individual. It's not just one thing for everybody, not one size fits all. And sometimes people are hesitating because they feel that it's too expensive. Then they can really get an accurate estimate of what it costs, and then knowing that there's financial or credit or terms, financing options available as well. So it just really allows a person, whether it's male or female, and you work with both, a lot of male as well, to be able to step out into the world the way they want to be able to, and not worry about that part of their lives.
Yes, an experienced plastic surgeon is a one-stop shop.
It's a one-stop shop. Yes, yes. And so what empowering thoughts. I just thank you for sharing this, because there's so much out there. I see it. I'm sure everybody else sees all these shiny new programs, and we're tempted to say, okay, that quick fix. But you've got to realize that, sometimes some things are just going back to the basics. There's nothing that replaces it being done. And history, it's good. It's good for us. So what closing remarks would you like to share with our listeners today? That's okay.
Would you please repeat that question?
What closing statement,
Oh,
empowering thoughts, would you like to share with our listeners today?
well, the first, you really do investigate and trust that your doctor is going to do a good job, because I'm telling you that show Botched is a typical example of a lot of things that come through all our offices these days. And it's tragic because the purpose of cosmetic surgery is to make somebody feel better about themselves for the rest of their life,
Yeah.
therefore have a more successful life. And unfortunately, when cosmetic surgery doesn't go right, it's not easy to correct a second time around. I get a lot of people that want me to, and I do it because I know how to do it, but it's quite difficult. It takes longer time, and it also costs a lot more money, or it should.
Mm-hmm.
It takes a lot more time, and you have to pay for the anesthesia and the nurses and the operating rooms and all that stuff. So one must be careful of who they choose, and if they don't, they can actually have horrible things happen to them mentally and physically for the rest of their life. Unless it, if it can't be reversed, it can't be reversed. So that's probably the biggest thing that I like to leave people with, and also that idea that I mentioned, that experience is definitely the way to go when you choose a plastic surgeon. It's like anything else in life. And so that's about it, to tell you the truth. I've been blessed by having been requested from the Pope in Italy in 2000 to go over there and be one of 3 plastic surgeons to lecture at a big convention. It wasn't because my last name is Torino. They didn't know who I was until I got there, and they found out I couldn't speak Italian. And they didn't like that much at all.
But I'm sure they appreciate your work and your work. So I do as well. And I want to thank you so much for taking the time out to be able to share this with us today. And I want to thank our viewers for viewing us today, because every little bit helps. You don't know what you don't know. So now you know better. So please do better. And until we meet again, I invite everyone to stay empowered.
I just wanted to add that I give complimentary consultations using a computer imaging machine, faces or any other part on the body. So come on in whenever you feel like it, and I'll be glad to tell you what you might be able to do.
Okay. All right. Well, I want to thank you again. And until we meet again, stay empowered.
Thank you. Well, that went reasonably.